little fear lately? Yeah, that's what this video is all about. That's what this conversation will cover. 3 simple steps to overcome fear and help dissolve it. And I know that that's very top of mind, and I know it's something we deal with always because it's what I call an ego trick. And today I want to give you 3 steps to be able to soften that blow and eliminate the fear that is holding that tight grip around your neck, right? And I want to first start with what is fear, right? And fear for me is, number 1, an ego trick. And I have 14 of those that I've identified. And what an ego trick is simply that place that the egoic mind, that false self, goes to in order to protect us, in order to keep us away from potential danger, potential emotional danger for that matter. And so it's there on purpose. It's there as a protective mechanism. And yet our job is to outsmart the ego. It's our human right to live in a space of peace and calm, right? And so if fear is made up in essence to help us protect us from moving down a road, to jumping in front of a train, to writing that book that I really want to write, to getting on a Facebook Live for the very first time, it is there to keep us away from presumed danger. And so fear is that false self past projecting, taking experiences from our past or imagined experiences. I mean, how many of us have watched a movie 10 years ago, and because we're aware of what happened in the movie, now we think it's a possibility. And so if it's an imagined experience, it's also that blocked emotion that is being projected onto your current movie screen, onto your current now, your current reality. Or more importantly, it's being projected into the future, which I call future tripping. And so it's not real, right? It's an assumption. It's not real. It's out of our, it's made up, right? It's in our imagination. And so I think we get the sense of what fear is. However, I know how real it feels in the moment. And just yesterday, I was experiencing my own bout of fear. And sure enough, I went through my steps. I actually have what's called the detachment method that helps me process through all of the different ego tricks, especially fear. And I'm going to give you 3 simple steps to start with. And so if you're here, please say hello. We are live. And if you get value out of this, if you feel like this might help someone, please share it. And tag me in it. I would like to help as many people as I can, because I know that right now, especially, a lot of people are dealing with a lot of fear. We're waking up with it. It's in our face. It's in our mind. The moment we open our eyes in the morning, it may be something you're going to sleep with, because guess what? We get up in the morning, we know it's there, and then we go get busy. And then we go avoid, and then we go like, I've got this. I know what to do. I'm all right. I'm okay, right? And that's just covering up what's inevitable. And so we want to actually get to the source of the fear as much as possible in order to dissolve it, to diminish it, and outsmart our ego in this kind of experience that you're having. So. Hey, Barbara, nice to see you. And Schroeder, nice to see you here. Glad you're here. And if you do like this video, please hit the like, give me some love. And if you're on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be putting more and more videos out about how to master your emotions for ultimately success, right, in our lives, etc. All right, so here, let's dive in. I'm actually going to write the steps on the board. Number 1 is call it out. And so what do I mean by that? The first step is you've got to recognize that it's there, right? I know you feel it, and then we go, like I said, we go get busy, we go shove it, we go get quiet, we go into avoidance. Personally, I go get busy, right? Or some variation of that. So we have to call it out. And what that looks like is awareness. We have to get aware. We have to notice. We have to witness where you are in relation to a circumstance or a situation. What is it bringing up? What's the experience that you're having? What are the thoughts that you're having? And so everything starts with awareness. And because if it's unconscious to you, if it's in your subconscious, then it's going to show up in other ways until you get highly aware. So call it out, right? Call it out. Number 2 is to identify the attachment. So let's say you have fear of especially right now, you are afraid that money is not going to be there, right? We have a lot going on in the world where money is top of mind, and I know that is a concern of mine as well, because we live in this world of certainty in our minds, right? Certainty doesn't actually exist out there, but it's in our minds. And in order to call it out, number one, and recognize what is the fear about, what am I most afraid of, identify the attachment. And what that means is that we are in some form attached to the story that we're telling, attached to the outcome, or attached to what we have, and we're afraid to lose it. And so you want to ask yourself these questions. What am I afraid of? What am I afraid of? What am I worried about? Right? What's keeping me up? and just get to the nitty gritty. You've got to dive into it and be able to identify those attachments so that you can detach from the attachment, right? I mentioned the detachment method. I'll let you know how to get that in a moment. All right, so then what? That's right. Number 3 is unpack the, can you see this? Yeah, it's still on the screen. Resistance. All right, so our struggle, our pain, our emotional upheaval, and the unsettling that we feel is a form of resistance. That's all it is. That's what's going on, is the resistance to that worst thing happening. It's the resistance. And so what you want to find out when you have identified what you're afraid of, right? If you're afraid that the money's not going to be there, you're not going to be able to pay the bills. That's the surface answer. Now I want you to dig deeper. Now you really want to unpack it, right? So what else? What is the worst that could absolutely happen? Trust me, yesterday I dove into this. I mean, I envisioned myself sitting homeless on a park bench, right? Like all the way to the absolute worst that could happen. I lose everything. I lose my car. I lose my family. I lose my house. I lose my money in my bank. I mean, I went all the way. And I mean, don't go any shorter than all the way, right? In order to unpack the resistance, imagine the absolute worst that you can imagine. Because guess what? Your ego is already in the imagination. It's already in the assumption. It's already in the past projecting into the future tripping. And so in order to get present in the now is to first unpack that resistance so you're aware of what it is and what you're feeling and what you're fighting against in order to start to dissolve it. And then there are a couple more steps that I think are really powerful to reframe and to reposition what that fear is all about. And I want to make sure that you have access to that. So the 4 additional steps that I offer in the detachment method will actually help you walk through some of that emotional release, as well as the truth reframe, which is really powerful because then you can actually start to look at what's real, right? And so I'm going to give you the link to that in the comments. And if you want to write it down really quick, it's the bravemasters.com/the-method, right? The method, very simple. The method, in case so I don't have to spell it, right? So bravemasters.com/the-method, and you can grab a free copy of my worksheet and walk through that and diminish the fear once and for all. So I want to leave you with this thought. And this is, is stop feeding yourself more fear and praying for more calm and peace. Stop feeding yourself more fear. And what do I mean by that? Do your part. Put down the headlines, right? Turn off the scrolls and curate your faith, curate your positivity, curate the help and the process and I call it positify everything. And so I just want to leave you with that, right? You've got to curate what you want to see versus what you don't want to see. And that's what I'll leave you with today. So if you've had any light bulb moments, please share them in the comments. Would love to know. And let me know how this process helped you. And we will be back with more. Thanks so much for being here, and I will talk to you soon.